Hi, everybody. Welcome to the March 23rd, 2018 edition of Colorado Wins It Out Postgame, a special web-exclusive production here on Channel 12. I'm your host, Dominic Dezzutti. Let's get to it. Let's get a quick take on Colorado Senate Minority Leader Lucia Guzman stepping down from her position on Thursday, citing how the GOP has handled the recent sexual harassment scandal in the Colorado State Senate. She will now serve as the Assistant Minority Leader, and Senator Leroy Garcia of Pueblo will take her place as Minority Leader. Patty Calhoun of Westward. I can understand, I guess, Lucia Guzman's point, but I'm not exactly sure if stepping down from a leadership position was an effective protest. What do you think?
Well, is there any really effective protest with how the Republicans are handling this? And I would use the word handling, take it under advisement when you're talking about a sexual harassment issue at the legislature. I think it was a heartfelt move, and she's still there. It's not like she's leaving. It's not like she won't still be a voice. It's not a bad idea to let someone else step up and get a feel for it because she is still there. But in general, I don't think I don't think Grantham's going to be shamed about this. It's amazing that we went through the whole LEPSAC thing when you've got two more cases on the Senate side, and the Republican Senate side, that they've got to make a decision on them soon. It's coming up in April. The whole new sex harassment plan is coming up. They still haven't called me because I would just say, quit touching each other, just shut up and let's do some real work. But Lucia, I don't blame her for wanting to at least step away a little bit.
Your advice seems very logical and straightforward, so probably why you're not getting the call back.
Right.
Yeah.
It would be cheaper, too. Free.
David Copeland from the Independence Institute and DU Law School. What did you make of Senator Guzman's protest and, I guess, the reaction?
Well, I take it at face value because it was, as she said, it was not just as a protest. There's lots of things you can do to a protest, but if you're the minority leader in the legislature, you're the one person in your party who really has to work a lot with the leadership of the other party. And you know, my dad was assistant minority leader in the House for a while, and you're helping your side, but he was not responsible for as much direct negotiation with the Republicans as the minority leader has to be. And so her explanation was, I'm so disgusted with the leadership, the Republican leadership. You know, you can have policy disagreements but still respect somebody personally, and I think she was over that line and said, I just don't like being around these guys. I don't want to sit in the room and talk to them and look them in the face. And so she wisely, with a lot of impressive self-awareness, said, well, somebody's got to be able to sit down with these guys and look them in the face and do the negotiation. I'm no longer the right person to do that because of how I feel, so I'll step aside and let somebody else, very capable, step up. So I'd say kudos to her. It's very few elected officials who have the self-awareness to step away when they're still when they still have the job, but to say somebody else would be a better fit for this under current conditions.
Eric Sonderman, political analyst. I like what David had to say because it broke down exactly the mechanics of how the state Senate works. What do you think about the optics of, I guess, outside the state Senate? That is this significant enough to draw other people's attention to what's been going on if for some reason they have not seen the headlines so far?
Oh, yeah. No, I think it's a significant story. We're talking about it. It is all over the media today. I'll be slightly more cynical than Patty and David, but only half cynical. You know, there's principle and then there's principle and then there's politics. And I actually believe this move encompassed probably some elements of both. I think, as David in particular pointed out, I think Lucia Guzman, agree with her, disagree with her on specific issues, is a person of principle and integrity, and I think she just got tired of this particular scene and tired of sitting across the table from these particular individuals. I think there was some politics involved too, exactly per your question, Dominic, that this is a way to further highlight the issue and to further highlight the disparate approaches that were taken in the House with LEPSAC versus in the Senate with a cast of characters there, but with the different leadership that the House provided versus what President Grantham is providing in the Senate. I've seen slow walks before, but the slow walk that they're doing in the Senate under Grantham of these issues is quite astounding, and maybe they're just going to take it all the way to sine die on May 9th without dealing with this. That's the way it looks now.
Ed Seelever, reporter of the Denver Business Journal, our guy at the Capitol, rounds up the panel. Ed, you're a young man. However, at the Capitol, you're one of the yeomen who have been there a long time covering the actual issues. You know what the culture's been like for several years. What is this year like, specifically with what we're seeing with this action within the walls of the Capitol? What kind of reaction or reverberations is this move making?
Well, I mean, this is what I talked about earlier in the show. At this point, everybody seems to be looking for an opportunity to jump in and point fingers more than they are looking to jump in and work together. Lucia Guzman, and this is why this shocked me, Lucia Guzman had this real reputation, especially among Republicans, of reaching across the aisle. She's not a moderate by any means. I mean, Lever Garcia is actually much more of a moderate. He's voted against gun restrictions. He's voted against increased oil and gas regulations. But yet she would always reach across and offer an olive branch. To see her do this just smacks of, quite frankly, weird. And it seems to be, in part of this, raise the stakes atmosphere you see every day, where after Lebsack departed, the Democrats decided they're going to go to the well every day and mention something about sexual harassment, how they should bring up the Baumgartner expulsion regulation. And that gets to the point where Daniel Kagan goes to the well and describes in graphic detail exactly what assault is. This sets the Republicans over the edge, and they come back with the, hey, Daniel Kagan, maybe you shouldn't use the women's restroom if you're so concerned about this. And I think in some ways Guzman didn't want to be caught in the middle of this anymore. She's somebody who's always looked for an olive branch, and I'm not sure an olive branch exists anymore. Still, if it did, if there was hope of getting things done, I think the hope was greater with Lucia Guzman in place. And so while everybody seemed to congratulate her, there's a sense of disappointment in me standing from the outside watching this, thinking she's walking away when her attitude was needed most. The reason that she was in that position, not because she was the smartest member, not because she was the most politically knife-jolting member of that caucus, but because she was the most outreaching member of that caucus, and she's stepping away at this point. So I worry that this is a further domino, that things are going to get uglier, and that the adults in the room are going to shrink away from the opportunity to make this an adult play.
Not a big home for adults anyway, in any sort of legislative session, but especially this year, it seems. That's all the time we have for Seattle Postgame this week. Leave us a comment, tell us what you think. For everyone here at CPT12.org, I'm Dominic Dezzutti. Thanks for watching.